What's going on, everybody? Welcome down to the DJs Guru Hangout, episode 8. What is pixel mapping, and is it the future of DJ lighting? So I want to welcome everybody down here tonight, Thursday, 8 p.m. We're watching live on Facebook. Hello, everyone on YouTube, Twitch. We really appreciate you watching us tonight. I am so excited to be with you tonight to talk about the future. And wow, we've got some really great news coming out all over the country, but here in the Northeast, New York just released this week events up to 150 people starting in March. Yes. So New York has been like, the Gestapo of what's been going on. So it's a good sign, and NCAA allowing up to 25% capacity, sporting events, things are starting to come back, and it's all good signs. It's all good news. So I'm really excited to be talking about the future of DJ lighting today, because we have a lot of good things happening, and I have two great guests coming on with me today that one you may know very well, one you may know not so well, but you're going to very soon. Today we have Brech and we have Brent Schmidt. Both I consider to be lighting experts in a sense that they have really dove into the lighting world and have been able to monetize it. And if we're DJs, if we're event entertainers and event professionals, our job is to try to take entertainment and take products and create them, turn them into tools, and try to monetize them. That's the whole point of what we do here, is return on investment and creating services to make ourselves unique and stand out and, make greater experiences for our clients. Pixel mapping is something that I think is going to be big moving forward. It's nothing new. It's also called eye candy, So I think we're going to bring our guests on today, and they're going to be able to explain it a heck of a lot better than I am, because they've done it so much in the past, and we have some great examples of everything. So I'm just excited to go through it today. So thank you, everyone, for watching. Thanks for tuning in today. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Brent Schmidt from B Productions out of Cleveland, Ohio, specializes in weddings, corporate events, and about 2 years ago did a huge production for Gary V of Vanier Media. And this gentleman calls himself the nerdy DJ. And from every sense of the word, even his license plate says nerdy DJ. He sent me a picture. I didn't have a chance to put it up, but this guy owns it. He brands it. He is a good friend of mine. I've met him several times. Really great dude. And I think he's got a lot to share with us tonight. So I'm going to bring him on now. What's going on, Brent? How are you, my friend?
What's up, Justin? Great to be here with you.
Hey, I'm so glad to have you on tonight, man. Really happy to see you, and thank you so much for coming on. And are you ready to bring in the man, the myth, the legend himself? And I've seen pictures of this guy for like, I don't know, 15 years now, and he has not changed at all. He looks exactly the same. He's like me. He's 29 perpetually. So Jeremy Brech, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. This man had started, I mean, you know him from trade shows. You know him from a lot of manufacturers, specifically Chauvet. He has done presentations. He has done trade shows. He has done so much for the industry, not only as a businessman, but just someone who has given of himself and given of his knowledge. That is what we love here at the DJs Guru, is giving and helping. So we're going to bring him on. He's a good friend of mine. What's up, Jeremy?
Hey man, I'm so flattered right now. I'm blushing, to make me feel like I'm still young. I love it.
I love it. Hey, well, we're perpetually young. And I mean, we've got some great people watching already. Renee Schmidt, how are you? Girls love nerdy DJs. Brent,
yeah,
my wife.
At you, man. Oh,
hey,
I see it.
It doesn't matter who it's from.
What's up, Brandon? How you doing? Braden, what's up, Braden? How are you, my man? And what's up, Alex Xavier? What exactly is pixel mapping? We're going to go through everything, and that is really the purpose of today's show. So, Jeremy, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I think this is a great topic because I don't even know what pixel mapping. No, I'm just kidding. I think
we're in trouble.
No, I think this is a great topic because it's really going to be transitional, especially, like you mentioned, the great news of New York is ready to kind of open its doors again and welcome people back into facilities. And now the DJs who have been kind of sitting there waiting, this is an opportunity to say, hey, things are opening up. Let's up our game. How do we do that? And I think this is a great way to do it. But there are some things that we're going to learn might work great. Some things that might not work as well. So I think this is going to be a great conversation. I'm looking forward to this tonight.
What do you think, Brent? And I've seen you echo these words before where you really do think it's like the future. So explain that, elaborate on that a bit.
It definitely is. I mean, when you think of fixtures and eye candy, you're probably thinking, well, fixtures are eye candy because they're brights, they're, in your face. But when it comes to pixel mapping, you're basically taking full control of your lighting and basically controlling each individual LED through whatever software that you're using. Either it's a hardware or software or even a big lighting console. So if you want to display texts, images, patterns, chases, you can do a dimmer chase, you can do color chases, whatever you think that you have in your mind that you want to put out there as a designer and as a creator, you can do it with pixel mapping.
So let's say it was the 4th of July and I was doing, a backyard event and it was dark after the fireworks and I wanted to show the American flag, right? Like that's something I could do.
How would you do that?
Absolutely.
Like that?
Just like that.
So
just like that.
And I think having an image going through this question, and just so you know, those are motion orbs from Chauvet, and each one of those has LED diodes that are specifically controlled. So this will kind of lead us into the first question, and I'm going to give this to Brent. So what exactly is pixel mapping?
So when you have your fixtures, you want to really look into the details of the specs of the fixture because not every single fixture is going to be able to do it to its fullest extent. So like the motion orb that we just saw in the photo below of the American flag, you're able to control each individual bulb, LED, or whatever fixture you have, and you put it into your program like Show Express, my DMX, or something even a little bit more complex, and you basically assign that this fixture, this diode is going to get its individual coding, so that if you want it to send red, that fixture or that LED will say red, and then the next LED down the line is going to be white or red or blue or whatever it is. So you're basically assigning its like custom IP if you're thinking it in easier term of networking. So you're just basically assigning what individual color that you want to establish.
So let's say I'm an idiot, right? If I were to dumb that down, if I had a light that had 100 DMX channels, right, and each one of those DMX channels was an individual LED diode, you mean to tell me the light would have 100 DMX channels, and then I can control each one of those individually?
Correct.
And that essentially is what pixel mapping is, right, Jeremy?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yes and no. Okay, so you said that there's 100 diodes, right? And you're saying there's 100 channels per that fixture. Technically, depending on how many colors are in that actual diode is going to depict how many channels total that fixture is. So for instance, if it's an RGB fixture and you have 100 diodes, right? Are you following me so far? 100 diodes.
I'm following you.
You have RGB in each of those. So that's actually 300 channels per that one fixture. So here's how I would break it down. Think about when you watch a TV and all of a sudden you see a little black dot go out, right? That little black dot is one diode. So in a TV, when you think about resolution, I don't know if you use Photoshop or if you guys do any video editing, think about every single pixel is basically an RGB value on a TV. So it's mixing red, green, and blue to make white, purple, whatever it is. So on a TV, you're talking thousands and thousands and thousands, almost millions of pixels to create a TV. So when you think about a fixture, if you're going to make something that high def, you are going to need a ton of fixtures, which means you're going to need a ton of addresses or a ton of channels for those fixtures. So yeah, Brett's completely right, and you're completely right. It's just you have to look at the full extent of how many channels is actually in each fixture based on what values are in each pixel, if that makes sense. So you have, for instance, a lot of the ones that we see are RGB, and a lot of them have white. So you have four channels in that one diode plus dimmer. Sometimes they have strobe. So now you're really breaking down. Now it's like, again, if that had 100 diodes, which there's not a lot of fixtures that have 100 diodes, now you're talking a very complex fixture, and it's going to take a lot of addresses, which in a little bit we're going to talk about. Maybe there's some pros. There's definitely pros behind this, but there's definitely some cons behind this as well.
Yeah, I think that really does kind of lead us into the next point and topic of this conversation, which is what are some of the pros and cons, Jeremy? And I'll ask you first. I know you have tremendous experience with this, and I know you probably made a lot of mistakes and maybe were over ambitious, like I am sometimes. And you're like, yeah, I think I can do this. So explain to us some of the pros, some of the cons, and maybe some of the pitfalls or some of the experiences that you've had. And Brent, we will certainly get to you on this one as well.
For sure. You know, the first thing I'm going to talk about is we're going to talk about the pros. There's obviously a lot of pros behind pixel mapping. We're going to actually show some live experiences that we've done and that Brent's done, and we'll be able to show people exactly the power of pixel mapping, because it is it's a very powerful tool if it's done right. Now, again, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort to make pixel mapping happen, which we're going to talk about in some of the cons. But some of the pros, you can create, like I said, video type atmospheres by using certain fixtures. The more fixtures that you have, the more or the higher resolution that image can be. So you can do some really cool things. Imagine like a video wall made out of like slim pars, or just a par can in general. That's going to allow you to put those in a location and basically make a video screen based on actually using regular DMX styled fixtures. So like I said, there's a lot of cool things that you can do with pixel mapping. Brent, I know, has a lot to share as well. The other things that I really like is, again, adding graphics to create atmospheres in those pixel maps. I'm going to let Brent share a little bit because, like I said, there's a lot of awesome things, but I don't want to take up too much time because I do have a lot of cons that I'm going to share as well.
We'll get to that. Talk about your pros, Brent.
It's one of those things, as a designer, when I'm looking to, either enhance my wedding setups or even my corporate setups, you're wanting to take that experience as a guest to the next level. Now, of course, you can have the biggest and best keynote speaker ever come into town and talk. But if you're also adding that other element, that other layer of lighting to the setup, to the experience that the guest is experiencing, you're going to really blow them away. So if you really sit down, learn about it, and you can do this with, 2 fixtures and do some really cool color chases back and forth, like the wash effects too. You can do some really cool mapping with the LEDs that are on that. So there's a lot of pros. It's really hard to pick one in particular that I love, but I think it's one of those that I just love the way that I could take that experience to the next level for my clients.
I love.
I think Brent's got a great. I'm going to steal the show here for a second.
Right,
I think Brent's got a great point. He talked about you have a keynote speaker who could be amazing, but if they don't have the energy of the room to kind of go along with that, you maybe lose some of that excitement. And I think pixel mapping, and this is what I love about it, I think pixel mapping allows your creativity to go above and beyond. So you're not limited to a specific fixture's autoplay or, those type of things. Now you have control over that and this, and then you can make certain things happen. And I think that's the true power of pixel mapping, is the creativity that you're able to have with it.
I love that.
If I can jump to add on with
Please.
Jeremy, is that to be honest with you, when I got into pixel mapping, I was bored because of all the, options that I had with, all right, I can bring this color up. I can, move that fixture and do this. It was like the show was stale. Like it was like the same show back, after another. So adding this other elements to your, lighting design, it just takes it to the next level. It's also fun for you because it tests your knowledge and your experience, and,
I'm taking over. So here's my opinion. So these are lighting guys, right? These are guys that I love them to death. They're lighting guys though, and they love lighting. I love lighting, but I'm a music guy. I'm a DJ, right? So for me, I want to look at this from someone who's not a lighting guy. He's afraid of DMX and pixel mapping. I don't even want to touch DMX. Why do I need this? All right. So here's a couple of reasons why I think this is the future. Number one, I hear all the time about photographers complaining about moonflower effects, about their dots and lasers, okay? When you have a lot of light being put out onto the dance floor, your photographers are not gonna like that. It's gonna cause issues. And then after 3 months later, when they get the pictures, they're gonna say, oh, that DJ, all I see is dots on my head. So as we modernize and as 2021 gets to the future and we keep moving forward, things are going to change. And I think the dots and the lasers and the moonflowers, I think they were already outdated, and it's time to kind of move forward to a more minimalistic approach, a more minimalistic setup, which is the next point I want to bring up. Everything seems to be moving in a more integrated, smaller, more compact, and minimalistic style. Portable column arrays, portable column type DJ booths, right? So having the ability to have a few lights, like Brent said earlier, to pixel map maybe on 2 speaker tripods or on, a single base light where maybe you have a T-bar at the top. It's going to add an element that is minimalistic, but it brings the eye candy. And that's kind of a buzzword to keep in mind, is eye candy, where the other side of these other types of lights is that they're very bright. So if you have a wash light on the dance floor, it could be blinding for the guests, right? So a pixel mapping eye candy effect will give off a little bit of light, but it's not going to blind people on the dance floor. And they're actually going to be able to look up at the DJ booth and see these kind of cool displays going off, something like that, going off in front of them, where it's not blinding them and it's just adding and enhancing to what you're doing. So to me, those are some other key things to keep in mind from someone that, I'm a kind of guy, I want to just set it up. I want to use sound switch, I want to set it up and have it just run for me. So there are ways to get automated pixel map lights, like the FX Bar 5050 from JMaz, like the Jolt 300 from ADJ, you know, where they have zones of lights, where it's very simple to just kind of automate this stuff and make it more unique without having to dive into it too deep. So I just wanted to say that. I'll remove myself from the solo view and go back to the gentleman here. But again, that's from, you know, I'm a lighting guy, of course, I'm an everything guy, but to me, when I do an event, I'm all about the music and the lighting I want to enhance what I'm doing. So I'm not lighting first. I know you guys are like, you guys make thousands of dollars off of lighting and then you have music, you know, like, so it's kind of reverse for me. So moving right along, and I want to say hello. Yeah, well, hold on. I want to say hello to Kevin Summers. Thanks for tuning in, man. How you doing? What's up, Jeremy? What do you got?
Well, okay, so
anything to add to what I said? Because
I completely want to spin off of that. So, going off of what Brent said, going off of what you said, you know, you look at a Wash FX 2, and now they have the Wash FX Hex. If you run that in auto mode, you're going to blind the crap out of your guests, and you have absolutely no control over that fixture. Okay, so we're not talking just auto programs. What I want to focus on with that is when you have full control of that fixture. And we talked about all the different addresses and all the different channels you have to use. You're going to want a dimmer to dim that down, so you're not blinding your dance floor. You're not killing them. So those are definitely great points that you brought up. You don't want people to be turned off from the dance floor because of how bright it is. Think about when you do a dance, you don't leave the house lights on, right? You create the atmosphere, you create the energy, and pixel mapping with a wash styled fixture is going to allow you to create really cool energy without being too much where it's too intense. You talked about the effects bar from JMaz, the effects bar 550. So this is what Justin was talking about. If you guys have not seen this, go check it out. It's a fantastic fixture. And he was talking about zones. So I'm actually going to unplug this just because I don't want to blind the camera. Oh, am I can't
on,
show this?
I do have it available, by the way, if anyone's interested, you know, just so you know.
So here's the cool thing about this fixture. These right here, when he's talking about zones, what this allows you to do is this is one pixel. This is one pixel. Now these are warm white. Okay. So they're a blinder type thing. These right here are actually strobes. So all the ones that are going horizontally, those are going to be your strobes. And then here, these are actually RGB, but they're broken into zones. So it's basically going to give you this block. It's going to give you this block all the way down. So there's roughly, I want to say like 6 different zones. I'm going to plug it back in just to kind of show you exactly what those mean, what I mean by zones. So here you can see, there you can see the green, and then it's in Sound Active right now. So here you see the blue zone, and then the green zone, so on and so on. Basically, you can control each one of these zones. So when Justin was saying, you know, there's some opportunity for some fixtures that may be a little bit dumbed down, which is great for the starter DJ who wants to be able to have some complexity. Fixtures like that is going to allow you to basically grow into pixel mapping, the warm whites, and, you know, some of the strobe lines and some of those zones, but also utilize some of the auto things that are programmed into these fixtures. So keep that in mind when you're doing your shopping for fixtures. You can find fixtures that are very complex, but also allow you to do it simply.
Yeah. Brent, anything to piggyback off that?
Yeah, I actually want to piggyback off both of you. Think of the psychology part of it. Like if, you know, young kids, you know,
got an algorithm? You got an algorithm over there?
No. But like, people are always on their phone, so they're attached to it and they want that attention. So using pixel mapping, you know, tastefully on the dance floor, controlling the dimmer, you can do some really cool things to grab people's attention to bring them on the dance floor. So just something just like eye candy is tasteful. So just put all those 3 words together: pixel mapping, eye candy, and tasteful.
I just think it's like, it just seems like such a natural progression to me. It fits in so well with the way that I see setups moving forward. And because they are kind of understated, I think is a great word to use for them. Because they're understated, you don't need a ton of them, and you don't necessarily need like huge infrastructure, which we've all had to deal with in the past. I mean, lifting the 100-pound steel base plate, if I never have to do that ever again, I'll be so happy. A 3x3 steel base plate, no thank you. Okay? Getting it off the floor, then your hands smelling like metal for the rest of the day, I'm good. So minimal setups, I'm cool with that. Sorry, Ken, I'm sorry, but I love you. But yeah, anyway, I just think it makes so much sense for everything that we've said already, and we're going to talk more about it. And I'm excited to see some more examples. So we talked about pros, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Are we ready to get to the cons? Because just like anything else in life that is great and worthy of your time and effort, it's not easy. Okay. No. And I'm here to tell you that, nothing in life that's easy, nothing in life that's good and is like sustaining is easy. It doesn't, they don't go together. If it's easy and good, it's fleeting and it's gone in a second. Let's talk to the lottery winners out there and see how they're doing 5 years later, Yeah. So, let's talk about some of the cons. And again, we're talking to people that may be afraid of DMX alone, by itself, just basic DMX. And now we're talking about, a step above that. So I'll go to you first, Jeremy, because I know you have a lot to say on this topic.
Oh man, I have a ton to say. I think you might want to start with Brent, just because I will bring the horse home. So go ahead, Brent.
Go ahead, buddy.
I'm gonna drop some terminology that probably
you're gonna get nerdy,
like a little bit. So like, if you have a lot of fixtures that you want to control, if it's a couple parts that you have chilling around, and they take up 30 or 50 or 60 DMX channels, and you got 10 or 20 of those, you're gonna use up a universe 512 of universe real quick. And, for myself, you're going to have to get into ArtNet and then buy a DMX E-node. And if you're at home and you're like, what did he just say right now? Well, that's kind of the con of it. Like if you want full control of that, you're going to have to get into the devices and the technology that is going to help you be able to get that pixel mapping the way you want to. But again, that's if you have a lot of fixtures and you want to control them all, and they have.
Sorry about that.
Oh, we're good.
So that's
what was that last part you said?
So
say that last part again. I hit the wrong button. Sorry about that, guys and girls.
Good Lord, I don't know if I can remember what I said. Basically, you're going to need other devices and software to help you get to that next level.
And we're going to get to that.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Jeremy, before you get into what you got to do, real quick, I just want to say to everybody watching again, thank you. At this point, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to drop them below. I also want to say hello to anybody that's watching this back on the replay, because I know that a lot of people can't watch this live, and this is really great content that I think is going to get picked up a lot after we do this live, and people will learn from it. So any questions you have, you're going to be helping out people for the rest of the days about pixel mapping, because there's not really any content out there about this, and that's why I wanted to do the show. So if anyone out there watching, first of all, thanks again for tuning in. Really appreciate your time and joining us tonight. But if you have any questions, just drop them down there. We're really happy to answer them. Okay, Jeremy, say your piece, brother.
All right, here we go. So the couple things that I'm going to point out is so Brent actually hit on it. You're going to use a lot of channels when you're working with a specific fixture, and that fixture has, so for instance, the Chauvet, actually I have them in a video that I'm going to share here in a little bit. The Chauvet Freedom Sticks. Okay. It seems like a very simple fixture, but that uses 60 plus addresses. I'm sorry, 60 plus channels per fixture to utilize that to its fullest potential. Now there's other options. You have different addresses that you can use, or different channel settings. So you can use it in 3-channel mode. You can use it in 7-channel mode, 21 channels, so on and so on. So you can always utilize those fixtures differently. But again, if you want to get complex with it, you can. So when you use channels, when you're using up a lot of channels, you're going to need multi-universes. When I did and we're going to watch a video clip on the Mobile Beat show that I did back in 2016, so 5 years ago. Crazy that show seemed that long, or it was that long ago, but I used 6 universes of 512. So ask the nerdy DJ how many total channels that is. That it's a lot. It's a lot of channels. You got 6 times 512. That's how many channels I needed to create this entire show. The other thing I wanted to, time consuming. It's super time consuming to originally set up. Now you have to make sure every single setting on your fixture is correct. You have to make sure every single setting on your software is also correct. So that the complexity of that can be very time consuming. Did you want to say something?
Hey, Justin? Yeah, just stop with the hard sell though. Seriously. It's just too much. Stop with the hard sell.
No.
That's my job. That's my job.
Okay. So the next part is it can get expensive. And the reason I'm saying it could get expensive is because imagine trying to pixel map 12 different styles of fixtures. Usually when you pixel map, you're trying to keep a consistency with your fixtures because it's going to make pixel mapping 10 times easier. And like I said, I'm going to actually show you what I did with Show Express. I'm going to show you how I utilize wash effects across the top, but then I also used the color band Pix M's to go in front of a DJ facade and how they actually work together. So again, I mean, there's some things that you're really going to have to look into. How many channels total is each fixture? How many fixtures do you need to accomplish that? And how many universes do you need? So the nice thing with the Chauvet 1024 is, Brent was talking about ArtNet and those type of things. It allows you to expand your channels by using some of those bigger boxes. So if you're thinking, yeah, someday I'm going to upgrade or I'm going to get into pixel mapping, get the bigger box because it's going to allow you to expand into that by having those extra universes.
You know what I was going to say, and I really should have said this at the beginning. We're down a guy, right?
That's right.
Where's Jason? So, as we said earlier, and you guys may not know this situation, but Jason is a famous luxury events DJ. He also goes by a few other names, but Jason he does a lot of luxury style events, and he opens for a lot of big names. So when the good news came out today, actually, there was a concert from Jason's big stars, Hanson, and he actually opened up for them today.
Nice.
Yeah, it was crazy. And he's going to jump in later after the Hanson concert to let us know how it went. I'm sorry. It makes me laugh. But anyway, he is going to be joining us in just a bit remotely after the Hanson concert to let us know how it went. So
nice.
Anyway, so there's a lot to think about when it comes to pixel mapping, Jeremy and Brent, for sure. But do you have any other cons? I can't imagine there's any more.
Yeah, no, like I said, I think those are kind of the main ones. There's definitely a lot of pros. And like I said, I definitely want to share some of those because I think when people see exactly what you can do with pixel mapping, they're like, you know what? Okay, I'm going to learn how to do this. It's worth it. I know we're going to talk about some softwares a little bit later and how to make pixel mapping simpler. But again, I think people have to understand and see exactly what it is to really grasp the power of what it is. So
is pixel mapping really the future? And then why do we think that? And I think we kind of went over it again, but let's just kind of summarize it so we can leave with that thought of, I need to invest into this. And I truly believe that people do. I think 150 person wedding becomes kind of the norm. So again, you're not going to want to bring out a tremendous lighting rig. And if you can coordinate and do this the right way, it's really very unique. And I think it really is very cool. And then if you add in something like Sound Switch or the RBDMX1 from Pioneer through Record Box and coordinate it with your music, now you have something, you're going to have to perform. The one thing about what's happened in the last year and a half with DJs had time to sharpen their skills in a lot of ways. So if you haven't upped your game in one way or the other, you're going to get passed by. You had to have picked up something. whether it's a virtual this or a, now I'm performing and I have a new booth and I'm out there, or you're going to have a new trick in your bag, so to speak. So this is just something I think people could look into, that maybe you can go real deep with it, or you can go inexpensive with it and still kind of get a cool effect and be different. So what do you guys think? Is it the future, and why? Give me a quick elevator speech of that answer. Jeremy,
Definitely,
go for it. All right, Brent, you go first.
Definitely the future. And pixel mapping has been around for a long time, but it's now finally coming into our market and our industry because the technology is getting better to where, us, normal guys can sit down and learn to program. Before you needed a really expensive media server and, lighting board to control all of the lights, but now you can do it simply through, your smartphone or, your laptop. So definitely the future, and don't be fooled that it's not to help sell. It's not going to sell your, events that you have coming up. It's that experience that you're bringing to your events that, your client is not going to see firsthand at the booking part of it. But when they're there on the dance floor, that's the part that you want people to remember. The experience.
Hey, Brent, if you're trying to sell some sort of a theme party and pixel mapping like this can't help you sell the event, something's wrong. I have to be honest with you and disagree with that. Then I'm a marketing guy. So clearly we should work together, because if you got stuff like that going on, I can help you sell it. Okay. And I'll say that to all DJs out there. This is content. You put out something like this on your social media, people are going to see it and be like, whoa, that's cool. I want that. So it really comes down to that. You got to catch their attention in like a millisecond now. People are scrolling. Right? You got to stop them from scrolling. Pixel mapping can do that. Believe me. What do you think? What do you think, Jeremy?
Yeah, I think Brent's right. I think it is. I don't want to say it's the future, because it's already been here.
Of course.
I think what it is it's a continual graduation for DJs and lighting people. If it wasn't, again, yes, it's the future. The thing that you have to understand is the lighting companies are making these fixtures mappable because they know it can progress what you do in your lighting. So that's the obvious reason that that if you're not doing pixel mapping right now, it's something you should be looking into, because they're making the fixtures for that change and progression in the lighting industry. So you got to catch up. You got to learn to do it.
What's up, Mike? Michael? How you doing, brother? And you got a fan out there.
What's up, Anthony?
What's up, Anthony? How you doing, man? All right, guys. So this is kind of where it gets a little tricky, right? Let's talk about software. Now, I think it's easy enough to say hardware's out, right? We're not using a DMX operator and Obey whatever. We're strictly software application based with this. It's going to make life easier for everybody, right? Brent?
No, absolutely. One of the softwares that I have is, Show Express, and then also the Elation Onyx series. Now that is somewhat of a hardware controller, but it has the PC based technology. And I mean, since pixel mapping has been around, they've evolved their software to be super simple to basically pick and choose the chases or the effects that you're wanting to do, and it's already almost pre-done for you, so that you basically hit a button, assign it to the fixtures, and then run the show, save it to a fader, and then go along and do your thing. So
what would you say, someone like myself, right? And let me put myself back on the screen. Someone like myself who may not have done it before on a software level and wants to learn it new from the start, from scratch. And let's say I have a good working knowledge of DMX. It's not extensive, but I understand the basics of it. What do you think is the learning curve on something like it, like that? How long do you think it takes me to learn it? 2 weeks, a month, 2 gigs?
I'd say 2 weeks.
Yeah, not that.
If you really sit down and, you know, really be studious and want to do it, you know, if you want to, you know, oh, I want to, you know, learn pixel mapping, but if you really don't sit down, research it, and then put the time into make mistakes, like that's the thing. Make mistakes at home, set it up, you know, try different things. You know, these fixtures have, channels 30, 52, 70. You know, you want to use the full amounts of channels that it has to its fullest potential. But, you know, break it down a little bit, you know, start at a lower DMX channel and then work your way up.
Love it. Jeremy, what do you think? What software do you use, by the way?
Well, I'm going to play, I'm going to go the other way with what Brent said. You know, he said to start with the lower number and then work your way up.
You have an example?
But here's what I want to point out from that. To me, I'm one of those start at the higher level because now you're not going to be as limited. So if something's not looking the way you wanted it to, it's probably because you didn't have enough channels to control. So that's one way I would see that. So I do want to talk about I mentioned a little bit about the Mobile Beat show we did 5 years ago. And, you know, this was my first stab at 5 years ago. This was my first stab at doing pixel mapping. And I'm like, dude, this looks so cool. This would be awesome. So what we did was, and what you're going to see here is you're going to see the color band PixMs. And we actually put them, we had 36 of them on the front facade of Jason Janai's booth.
Nachos.
And yeah, we had it on the facade of Jason Janai's booth. And basically we were able to, you know, during sequences, we were able to, in timeline, put the video map, or I'm sorry, the pixel map in that sequence during the show. So it said Mobile Beat across the front of the booth at a certain time. So I'm going to play that here real quick and show you.
Jason Janai is, you know, I know he's big, but you know who's bigger, right? Jason Longobardo.
So here, in what you're seeing right now, I had mentioned the Freedom Sticks. That's the Freedom Sticks that you see there. And we didn't actually pixel map these. We actually just used the built-in programs because the pixel map these would have taken another probably 3 universes to do. We had 26 of these. So if you watch in the background of this video, you're going to see it scrolling Mobile Beat going across.
I love it.
So this was the opening sequence of the show, and it allowed us to, again, allowed us to do text, but it also allowed us to do, I'm going to pause this. So you can kind of see the mapping right there. We had different ambiances that were actually changing on the facade itself.
Wow.
All right. So how did we do that? We used Show Express.
Real quick.
Oh, yeah.
I don't mean to cut you off. The Freedom Stick automated can be cheesy. If you do it like this, it is so cool.
It is awesome.
It is so cool. You just plug it in, like it gets cool, but this is the way to do it.
Yeah.
Go. I'm sorry.
They're fantastic. They are. And we actually use these
amazing job.
Thank you. We use these in so many different ways. So back to the facade. So how do we create that? I'm going to show you. I'm actually going to unshare this one, and I'm going to share a new screen. I'm going to share my Show Express. And the nice thing with Show Express is it actually, yeah, for sure. All right, you can see this. Okay. So basically, what I did, I'm redoing that. Basically, what you saw with the Mobile Beat. So what I did is I added a black background, which allowed me to basically turn the RGB off on the fixture. And the only thing I wanted to show was it was actually blue. So actually, let's change that to blue. So this was what the fixture looked like. You hit apply, and now it's spelling Mobile Beat. And it's hard to see here. But again, the more pixels you have, the more defined or the more legible it's going to be. So this right here was all of the color band movers. This up here, these are actually wash effects in my sequence. Okay, so I'm going to turn off the scrolling text and I'm going to turn on the GIF animation. So now when I did something with this animation, you see here, this is just a GIF. I actually am illuminating all of these fixtures as if it's one palette. So for instance, if I want to change that, I click this, hit apply. Now I have that flame going not just on the front of the facade, but also on the wash effects over the top of the entire production. So these were actually used mainly for crowd wash, but we were able to utilize them in pixel map mode. We were able to actually create the atmosphere and energy, like Brent was saying, by utilizing all these different ambiances. Now, the other cool thing about Show Express is you can actually, as long as you know where the path folder is, okay, this is kind of a cheat for you if you're interested. If you know where the path folder is in Show Express, you'll find that folder. You can create any GIF. So if you have a specific video, if you have an eagle flying and you want to create that with pixel mapping, you get that GIF, you go online and search for GIF creator. You drop that video in GIF creator. It'll output it as a GIF. Then you take that GIF and then you put that in the path folder. And now that path folder is going to show that flying eagle, whether it's this one or so on and so on. So now you can actually create your own GIFs, put them in pixels, and you can project those pixels out into your production. I'm done.
Mic drop.
So, like I said, I love using pixels. It is very complex. It is not easy to set up, but man, once you get it, it is so much fun. It is such a blast.
Brent, do you have anything you want to share? And that all said, first off, thank you guys. And that was a great presentation, Jeremy. And I really thank you for sharing that.
Was I on mute the whole time?
No, definitely not. You were like full screen. Does anyone out there have questions? I didn't fully understand everything Jeremy said. Like, I understood 99.9% of it, of course. But if anyone else has questions out there, again, thank you everyone for tuning in. And if you're watching this on the replay, these questions are going to be helpful for us. So what's up, Jason? How you doing, brother? We haven't talked about you all night. Jump on when you're ready. He's just finishing up. So,
yeah, so Justin,
I'm going questions, just drop them down at the bottom.
Yeah, I'm going to encourage people to ask questions because I know, like I said, there's a lot of information that I just threw at you guys, and I'm going to keep an eye on this feed. So as the next couple days, the next couple weeks, if you guys are watching this 2 years from now, you can post on here. I'll keep an eye on it. I'll be happy to answer any questions. And just make sure that you guys, you have a better understanding and how powerful this can be. I would love to help how I can.
I love that. And I'm just, and of course, it's my channel here. So any questions like this, I answer questions on YouTube, on Facebook, in groups all over the place. I'm like the question guy. Just ask Justin, but I'm happy to answer them. If I don't know the answer, I'll just ask Jeremy. So it's cool. or Brent. So, and then, but I always give them credit. Always give my people credit, my friends credit out there. Brent,
Justin,
what do you got?
I would be curious on, the people who are watching and the people who are watching later on. I would be curious on the pixel mapping softwares that they use. I know we've used Madrix in the past. I don't know if you're familiar with Madrix at all. Mm-hmm. We've had success with that. And like I said, I think there's a lot of great softwares out there. And I think it's great when people can share within this community and let us know like what works great. And, if they say, well, if you like this program, you're really going to love this program. I think that idea sharing is so powerful. So I would love to see what people are using out there.
That's part of everything that we're trying to do here at the DJs Guru is really just be more collective and collaborative and work together. I'll always say it that, give more than you take, of course, and that's a cliche, but in my life personally, I can only speak for myself, but whenever I go forward and I go the extra mile for somebody, somewhere in the future, it always comes back to me and like, I'll leave my sunglasses somewhere and magically someone will return them to me, or something like that will happen, and I'll say, all right, it's because I did the right thing over here. And people will call that karma, whatever you want to call it. But I always feel like if you do the right thing, if you help, you'll get help at some point when you need it. So, and I really appreciate you doing that. So, anyway, Brent, do you have any examples? We saw Jeremy's, and let's see what you got.
So I have photos here. So this production was a magic show, and if you pan your eyes to the top of the proscenium arch, you'll see those rainbow moving wash lights. Those were all pixel mapped. Now they show full color right now, but during the show we did custom pixel mapping for each individual light, and it also created kind of like a pastel style, so it wasn't a vibrant like red, blue, yellow like you're seeing right now. It really like toned the stage and the performers on stage to give them a little bit of backlighting and also some stage lighting. You'll also see the core 3x3s, the little square things that are kind of looking like diamonds. Those were also pixel mapped, but not only did we pixel map the individual diodes, but we also pixel mapped the dimmer, because if you had them at full, the whole audience that you see right there would be blinded the whole show. So we had to take the dimmer down so that it was able to, you could see everyone on stage. And then this one, you can kind of see we were doing a pixel map with the core 3x3s, and it was programmed right on time to where when the magician hits that box with that orange light, the lights came straight at the center of the stage. So it showed direction. Not only, you know, eye candy, but it's showing a physical direction where people should, you know, if you're looking around the stage, oh, there's a cameraman, oh, there's the magician, oh, there's, you know, assistant, boom, all of a sudden the lights went straight to center to focus on the focal point of the magician. And same thing, she was coming down, so the lights were starting to descend down. This one was for the Cleveland Cavaliers. This is just a simple Blizzard Pixelicious, 4 of them on a DJ facade for the in-house DJ. And at first, this was programmed through an Obey 70 controller that I had laying around that they needed control until their PC came in. And then we were able to create custom colors. Their sponsor was Budweiser. So we did the custom colors of blue and white. So right there, you can also add more branding. So if you're doing a corporate event and the sponsor is Budweiser, red and white. So perfect example of how you can brand, you make your client's brands pop out. This next one was right in the beginning of quarantine. I took my Freedom H1s, put them on struts and attached it to it, and basically did some custom pixel mapping while I was DJing live. So something that I had laying around that just threw them on, was it channel 12, 13, whatever the highest DMX was, put it into Show Express and basically made my patterns, and off I went. This one was the big show that Justin was talking about. You see right here, the core 3x3s. The backdrop lighting that you see on the curtains were actually the Chroma Q Color Force 72 2 fixtures. Now those fixtures, we didn't use them to its fullest extent because the highest channel, I believe, on those was like 110 or 120. Each individual diode was controllable, and I think we only used, I think it was like 70 or 72, around that range. We also had fixtures up in the air that we had to pixel map. So we used about 23 universes to do this show. That was all through ArtNet. The overhead lights above the crowd, they had about 12 universes up there. And of course we had backups up there. So if something were to happen, we could just flip it right at the DMX E node. And that's pretty much it. Those are some of my examples.
I feel like as soon as you say ArtNet, like you lose everybody. Like
yeah, I'm sorry.
Everyone's officially gone. I saw the crowd.
You really want to know?
Like, people like ArtNet? Nah, forget it.
Who's that? Who's Art? Who's Net?
I don't know.
I mean, that's just an easier way to, you know.
Maybe I'm projecting. Maybe I'm projecting. Cling. When I started hearing Cling and ArtNet, and I get like glossy.
Who's this art guy?
But you know what's so funny? It's like I'm a great example, and let's close this down here. But I'm a great example of, you know, an old school kind of DJ because, you know, as you guys know, I focus my life on the equipment side and helping and like being a concierge for you guys and girls out there. So I was married. I had kids. I have a daughter, and it was like I needed the weekend back. So I dedicated my weeks and really my weekends too to DJs in a different way. So now when I DJ, it's more for fun. So I've said this before. I was a CD turntable guy, but when I kind of stopped working so much, and I jumped right to USB. I didn't even do software. But anyway, that said, I like the idea of pixel mapping because for me, if I can learn it and I can set a couple of cool scenes, or if I can learn to kind of synchronize it with Sound Switch or something like that, or something similar to that through Engine, because I use the Prime 4. It just, I think it gives me a whole nother dimension when I do go back out there, because I've been running sound now for other DJs, and I think I'm going to start to integrate a lot of this type of stuff into my rigs as well. And it's not that difficult from what I can tell and from what you guys have said tonight, and from what I've seen, So I think I'm a good representation of someone that maybe hasn't done a tremendous amount with too many lights, and this is something that is really attractive to me because it's different, it's unique, and it's kind of modern. So what are your final thoughts as we end this this discussion on pixel mapping, on eye candy, on a lot of these great fixtures that we talked about? The FX Bar 5050 from JMaz, the Jolt 300 from ADJ, and I think I meant to mention earlier the Slim Par Pro Pix from Chauvet, which is super cool, and I was really excited to see that. It's a par, it's a pixel mapping item, and then it has this really unique ring around the center. So it's totally different, and that's, to me, that's what I'm interested in right now as far as lights go, is these multi-effect lights, but not so much the strobes and the lasers. I like more the eye candy stuff now. So what are your final thoughts, Jeremy?
You're exactly right. And, most of the fixtures that we use anymore, we're looking at moving all away from spots. I mean, we have 10 DJs that go out, and right now we're using, the Chauvet 355s, 375s. We're using spot fixtures, which are great when we're spotlighting the entrance and we're spotlighting the cake cutting and all that stuff. But we're looking at moving to an all wash fixture. And, here's the main reasons. It has a much wider spread than what a spot usually does. A spot's usually in that 12 to 16 or 19 degree, where a lot of these moving washes now have anywhere from a 6 or sometimes a 3 up to a 60 wide. So it allows you to cover a lot more of your dance floor. Now, when it comes to the pixel mapping part of it, here's what I want people to do. I want them. So I did a shop time video. If you're not familiar with my shop time videos, you can check them out on YouTube. But what I want you to do is I want you to find a fixture that has different zones, and just go ahead and use the auto zones. Okay. I did a video on this a couple years ago, and it's such a cool effect. If you get a Wash Effects and you put it in its auto program, where basically it's jumping around to the different zones. Okay. So you have 6 different zones. If you just put your hand about 4 feet away from that fixture and you watch the shadow. So don't watch what your hand's doing. Watch what is going on beyond your hand. Okay. So you're actually going to see shadows across the room from these fixtures that are actually using that pixel mapping, and it's using these different zones within the fixture. To me, that is really what's going to make the difference. It's not the light that's hitting you. It's what's not hitting the rest of the room. So it's the shadows. Shadows can be extremely powerful. So try that with your fixture. If you can switch, or if you can put it into zones, check it out. Trust me, you're going to love it. And you're probably going to want to use that a lot more for your weddings and for your dance events.
I love that, Jeremy. Thank you so much. It's a great little nugget there you gave us. Brent, final thoughts, my friend.
Relax. Take your time. I know we threw a lot at you, myself talking about ArtNet, Jeremy showing what he did at Mobile Beat, which I was actually there and I saw live, and I was just blown away at what he did, and just seeing how he was programming it blew my mind at the time. So relax, take your time, do your research. As time progresses, more manufacturers are going to come out with these fixtures that have the auto zones, and the softwares are going to get super smart to where, you know, you basically input what you want it to do and it'll do it. So relax, take your time, and then also think about what you want to do. Think as a designer aspect of it, what you're trying to achieve from your lights. If you're going to get all par lights and pixel map it that way, or if you get, you know, the Blizzard Pixelicious or the JMAS that Jeremy was showing, things like that. Grab it, do your research on it, take it home, throw it in a program, and see what you can do. Play with the shadows like Jeremy was talking about. You know, if you're putting it off to the side and shooting it across, just think outside the box. There's nothing wrong with trying something different and new. Be innovative.
That's the whole thing, man. You know, it's like the NFL. It's a copycat industry, and we're trying to tell you what the cool kids are already doing, and if you're not doing it, you should really look into it, because it really. And like another thing, like there's video walls, right? Like that's another thing that a lot of DJs will do. I have a customer that had the motion orbs, which were pixel mappable, like string lights. And what he did was Bill Spindler, Double Platinum Productions in Wisconsin. He bought pipe and drape, black pipe and drape, and then he just placed the motion orbs in front of them. And it looked like a video screen. It was incredible. And he was able to bring it like around the perimeter of the room. And what he did, what's up, Bill? Good friend of mine from Wisconsin, known this guy a long time. But what I've seen, you know, and he did this 5-6 years ago, but he was able to sell that as an experience for people. So you're selling the wedding package with the, you know, with the sound system, and then you're getting the perimeter, you know, pixel map experience, whatever it is that you're going to theme it. This is another level, another service now that you can offer to your wedding couples or your event people that you're doing the event for. It's all about creating products with the tools that we have, whether they be lights, speakers, you know, all the battery powered stuff that's coming out. We're all doing virtual events and learning how to stream better and integrate video into our offerings as well. So this just leads into that and just gives us more to offer, you know, instead of just, hey, I'm going to throw my free light show and it's a derby on the floor. Like, I mean, come on, guys. We're better than that. You know, we got to be better than that.
You know,
Justin,
Justin, you had mentioned it, and you actually, it was perfect because, you know, you don't go to a client and say, you don't sell them lights, you sell them the experience. And, you know, if you're not selling the experience, you're not getting beat because you got undercut. You got beat because you didn't sell the experience. You were trying to sell stuff. So that was, I wanted to play off of that point that you made.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I try, you know, I sell products that everybody else has. People have always enjoyed doing business with me because I try to do things differently. I try to connect with people, whatever it is. I try to make an experience out of it, right? Whatever that may be in my role, I try to do that. So I think everyone should try to do that with whatever it is that they're doing, because if it's just a wedding, then you know what? You're just a number as far as the price. But if you're able to offer this that nobody else has, this experience or that service that nobody else has because you just called it something different, well, now you're unique, you know? Well, John doesn't have, you know, this company doesn't have what I have. So, you know, that's why I can charge this much more, or, you know, whatever it is. Not to mention, it's like the 20 years ago when the monograms first came out. If you showed a picture of a monogram to a woman, a bride, and said, do you want your name in lights? They said yes 100% of the time. And it was like $200. It was the easiest sell in the world. If you get a great piece of content, you know, on pixel mapping, to me, you know, like something like that, it's an easy sell. I think who wouldn't want that at their event, you know, for another $100 or $200. And your lights that you already have may already do this. So it's not even a matter of buying anything new. It's a matter of just learning how to do and use the lights that you already have differently.
Yeah.
So those are my final thoughts.
Nice.
Anything else you guys want to say? Because we're past 9 o'clock. You've already donated enough of your time today, gentlemen. I really appreciate having you on. Jason, I mean, I got to be honest with you. Hanson has tremendous looking groupies. So I can only imagine what he's going through right now after that concert. So anyway, guys, thanks so much. Thank you, everyone, for watching. If you're watching on the replay, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got something out of it. The DJsGuru.com. Definitely check us out. We're your guide for buying DJ gear online. So what does that mean? It means that I will talk to you, and not only will I sell you something, but I'll guide you through the process. I'll explain it to you. I'll listen to you. I'll tell you what I think you should buy, not what I may be sitting on and I want to sell you. So that's kind of what we're doing here. We're also trying to educate you and really be a resource for people here in the U.S. There's a lot of companies out there and content companies, but they're not really here. And they're not in this world that we're all living in the private events. So we're trying to do things differently, and I appreciate everyone's support, really, and thank you all for everyone who's purchased, who's helped me out in one way or the other. Brent, Jeremy, thank you. So that's what I want to say. And DJsGuru.com, definitely check it out. Brent, you got anything you want to plug?
Check out my YouTube channel, thelightinginventory.com. I talk about everything and anything that has to do with lighting. Check it out. Subscribe. You can follow me on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, at bangbangbrent.com or bangbangbbrent, and check out my website, djbrentschmidt.com.
Jeremy, by the way, got a couple of nice comments here. Shop time is very informative. Eric Kizis. By the way, Eric, I got to blink more, dude. Like, come on, dude. I don't know what that was. I got to blink more in your comment. I watched that back. I'm like, how many times does a person have to blink in a video? I don't know what you meant. Anyway, I love you. Very informative. And check this out. I like the hybrid 140 for versatility. And boom, Brett Ridiat. Those are what I went with. And then he writes, Shop Time ended up being an influence for the movers I went with.
That's awesome.
You're an influencer, dude.
You know, I just want to make sure that people are getting the right fixtures. And there's times where people are like, hey, I'm thinking about the 140s. I'm like, well, what are you doing? What are you working on? And they're like, well, I'm going to do this and this. I'm like, okay, those are going to be way overkill. You're going to fry grandma's hair. And they're a fantastic fixture. They just don't work for everything. So that's what I really created the Shop Time videos for and you can go check it out on YouTube. It's just, you search DJ Jer Shop Time. Those videos are there to help people make the right decisions and hopefully encourage you to get what I feel is the best option. You can always reach out, and I'll be honest with you. If I don't think something's a great fixture for you, I'll be honest. But there's a lot of great product out there. I just have some of my number ones, and I'm always willing and able to help people understand a little bit more about what they need.
It's funny you say that. Like I don't do the best. Like I don't do better really, because unless it's something that's so quantifiable, it's like it's so subjective, and it's really more about what are you doing, how are you doing it, and what can I find based on your budget that's going to do what you need it to do the best for your most bang for the buck. Bang bang, Brent. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. So I get what you're saying, Jeremy, completely. Brent, you're the man. Thank you so much tonight for coming on with us, for teaching us and educating us on pixel mapping and sharing those great images and things that you've done in the past and sharing your knowledge. Jeremy, thank you.
For sure.
Really appreciate everything that you've done for this industry as a whole. You've got a lot of fans out there. You've inspired people, and we thank you for that. And thank you for always being a good dude. And I always enjoy talking to you when we see each other in person. I always enjoy that, and these are always fun too. So thank you. I really appreciate it, and we'll look forward to having you on again soon. So
thanks, man.
Thanks, guys. Have a great night. And I am so excited for the future, 2021. As I keep saying, the Roaring 20s are coming. They're coming. Vaccine news, all that stuff is good. Oh, Jeremy, bookings 2021. How you doing?
We had record sales in January. We have the most weddings we've ever done this year, and a lot of that was a lot of carryover.
Okay.
Yes, but
any weekday weddings?
Yeah, we do. We have a Tuesday wedding.
I'm told.
We never have Tuesday weddings.
I knew it.
So it's a blessing, and definitely everybody keep your head up, because things are, if you weren't resilient, you were going to struggle. But I have a feeling most of these people in this industry, you found a way, you made it work, and we're going to all rock 21.
Yeah. Brent, what about you? How are your bookings looking?
For a single op, it's crazy. I mean, we have a couple triple threats where we have Friday, Saturday, Sundays, and back-to-back weekends. So 2021 is looking very positive, and I'm actually looking forward to not only this year, but also 22. So
I don't want to sigh of relief yet. You never know. At this point, I think we're all smart enough to be prepared for the worst. But I think, even more so than 6 months ago and 3 months ago, I think we're really headed in the right direction. You're seeing things now, like legitimate signs of progress and things opening. And we're going to probably be doing gigs during the summer. I think we can say that pretty confidently at this point. And let's keep our fingers crossed. So everyone watching, thank you so much. Everyone watching on the replay, thank you so much. The DJsGuru.com. You can follow us on all social medias at the DJs Guru. Thanks for watching on Twitch, on YouTube, on Facebook. Jeremy, Brech, Brent Schmidt, you guys are the best. Thanks for coming on tonight. And thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you on the flip side, everyone. Take care. Justin. Bye-bye.